So as you can see from here, I'm on the DJI Fly app. Just setting the camera up. I forgot to put a filter on before I started off, so I'll just mess around for the next couple of minutes, getting the filter set up and getting the settings ready. What I'll do, I'll just skip that process and then I'll show you what it's like when they're going forwards.
Check it on the map.
Right, we're in the air now. Just make sure you're on your camera settings. Click on the actual camera selection, then select Pano. Once you're there, click on the sphere button, which is sort of the globe with the little lines going through it. Roughly put your camera where you want it to point for the central point, and then just click the shutter button. You can either do that on the screen by pressing a little camera button, or use your remote control. The good thing about doing this, you actually see the percentage rate of how far you've got through the pano shot, so you know how long roughly your drone will be in the air. Quite handy in case you see something coming around, you can just cancel it, sort of another plane or something like that. Cancel it, move out of the way, let it go past, and then return. And then you just have to repeat the process until you get the 100% photos. It doesn't take long, as you can see, but the results are quite brilliant. Once you're back at your laptop, now it's time to find your photos, which I've got in a folder, which I'll open now. And you will see the images that's been taken by your drone in the panoramic format. So each image is obviously a separate image that you've got stitched together. As you can see from here, this was actually taken over the town a few weeks ago. So I was hovering just over that building with the solar panels. And yeah, basically I'll just go through the process now of how I stitch those together. And to do that, I used a program called PTGui. So that's PTGui. I'll put a link in the description. I only use the very basics of this. So you can either click on the load images and then select the images you want, or the way I do it is just select all the images you want from your panoramic, drag and drop them in there. I find that the easiest way, just to throw the images in there. So once that's done, I click on Align Images. Now what this will do, this will pull all the images into one. You can change your lens settings and the type of lens that you've used. I tend to just leave it on the settings that you can see, and it seems to do a good job. Now what it's doing is putting all the images together, and it will stitch them into a panoramic. You get an example here, and then you can do a preview. So just make sure you got the sphere one selected, and that option there selected, the third one down. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it because I'll just say it wrong. So once that's selected, click on preview. Now when you preview it, I've noticed, I don't know if it's just my laptop, that the image isn't fantastic quality, but it is just a preview. And the main thing is to look out for any dodgy spells. Sometimes you get the horizon step up a few millimetres or drop down. And then what I do here for my watermark, I guesstimate how big my watermark needs to be. So again, just check your horizons all the way around, make sure there's nothing funky going on. And then go back down and work out how big you want your logo to be. So if I say from the edge of this grey building to, let's say, midway through this brown roof, near the cursor now, but then that should be a nice size for my logo. It won't be too big and it won't be huge. Now one thing I do as well, I do ghost a logo through near enough the horizon, but that's purely just so people see my website. You'll see as well when I flick up on the preview, you can see that black bar across the top. So that is something we fixed through Photoshop. What I'm doing now is just aligning where I want the center of the image to be. So when the image first loads on Facebook, it's roughly around the center of this image that you're going to see as the preview. So I want it going down the high street. So I'm just having another nosy just to familiarise myself with it. And that's the image I want pretty much. One thing to be very careful with at this stage, when you're dragging the image from left to right, be sure not to push the mouse up or down because it will distort the horizon. Give the horizon a massive hill or like a mountain range because it will completely ruin it. So now once you've done all the previous steps, click on Create Panoramic, which you can see just here. And then you need to select the location that you want that to go in. So you'll see you click on the quality to start off with. Just make sure it's 100% unless you're really restricted for space, and then you can lower it a bit. But obviously best results 100%. Click on the Browse button and then choose where to save it. For this example, I'm saving it to the desktop and I'm just going to call it Daventry Pano. And then JPEG, so I know it's a JPEG image. Then click on Create Panoramic again. And now that is saving all those stitched images as one complete image onto your desktop. So this is the one you will then work within Photoshop, which we will jump to now. So once that's done, I close down the file, the program, and then I open up the image in the normal viewer. This is just again to check the horizon, check the details are there, make sure there's nothing blurry or strange gone on whilst it's been exporting it. Daventry's just had a new cinema built. It's being built at the moment, not quite open yet. And you can see the high street going through the centre. And there's a couple of little parks which are quite nice. Now if I zoom back out on this, you're going to see that black strip across the top and the funky little bounce things along there. So that's obviously the camera on the drone can't point directly upwards. I'll right click the image, open with, and then select Adobe Photoshop. I'll show you here how to get rid of this black strip. Now we do this by expanding the sky up. That's as simple as that. And what you need to do first is zoom in and then check your horizon for any tall buildings or obstacles. So you can see here we've got the mast on Borough Hill, the last remaining one of many. It's where they actually discovered or invented the radar, made sure it worked. If we go along the horizon and just drag that up, that mast will end up 4 times bigger and it will just look odd if anyone zooms in and sees it. So what we need to do is just check all together, and you need to untick this little padlock on your image. And then select the selection tool, which I'm just doing on the pane there. Go to the top of the mast, there's an approximate height, and then just check that you've not gone above the black markers along the top of the image. Doesn't matter if you do, because you can always just drag it up a little bit more than you need to, and then I'll copy and paste that selection. What I'll do then is change the zoom just to zoom out a little bit, just to view the image a little bit more, and then on the image that I've just copied and pasted, right click the screen, click on free transform, and then click and drag that image up to the top of the overall canvas that you've got to play with. Once that's done, I then tend to zoom in and just make sure there's no obvious difference between what you've selected and stretched compared to what's in the very distance along the horizon. It's very struggle to see it. I don't know if you'll see on this or not, but it is slightly grained. So I select that image again, go on to filter, and then click on edit camera raw. So this will bring up the edit that you normally see on a DNG file or RAW file, and then I'll just play around with the shades and the colours just to get it looking a bit better. Doing it this way at the moment, I would only play around with the texture just to get rid of the graininess so it matches the rest of the image. So as you can see, I need to pull the texture down quite a bit because it's stretched all of those pixels. And then I also go on the detail tab and then just put the noise resolution a little bit higher, and then the colour noise resolution reduction even a bit higher. Once that's done, I then zoom back in on the image that you can see in front of you now, and you can see the sky pretty much matches the same pixel rate as the image below. So it just gets rid of that difference between top and bottom. Then once you've done that, you need to click on the actual text on the image where it's got the layer 0 or whatever, and then click on flatten image. If you click on the image alone, it doesn't come up with that option. So it has to be on the grey section of the name. Click on flatten image, and then that compresses the image, both the copied part of the picture to the main part of the picture as one file. And then I go over to filter, go on to camera raw, and then just play around with the settings again, just bring up the shadows, lower the highlights to get rid of anything that's highlighted in red to say it's majorly over highlighted, and then I'll just play around with the settings that suits me. This is something that everybody has their own way of doing things. Some people say there is a right and wrong. I don't think there is. It's your own personal preference. If you like it, you like it. At the end of the day, unless you've got a customer that's saying they want something a certain way, just do what you're happy with. That's the main thing to do. And what I'll do, I'll just speed this up very quickly. There's no point going through each individual bit. Just zoom in every now and then, check the quality. If ever you do visit Daventry, this shop here is called First Light Photographic. Fantastic service from Dawn in there. She also does photography, weddings and everything like that, and fantastic at doing prints and everything. It's the only person I trust working with the images that I produce. Once I've done all the changes that I want to do, I'll just hit OK, and then as if by magic you will see the image change in front of you. It's only slightly different, but it does make a difference to the overall image. Once I've done that, I then go on to File and Save As, and then just save it. I'll save it again on my desktop, and I'll just save it as the Photoshop format, basically. The reason I do this is I always keep a file there. I then do all the panoramic stuff, and I know I've always got this to go back to play with if I want. So now is the time when I do my not logo as such, but just my watermark. So simple as click the little text icon down the left hand side of the screen, and then just type in my website. Once I've typed it in, I go in and change it to a size that I feel would be adequate, which normally this size is more than suitable. And if you remember what we looked at before, you can see where the grey roof is with the solar panels that sort of flips around the bottom edge. As you can see, where I've got it positioned at the moment is near the top edge, which I was talking about, which I might move a little bit. I then do a transform on it. Now to drag it, just to stretch it across, you click on the middle box that appears, press and hold shift, and then drag it. If you just drag that normally by selecting that, then the image changes in height as well, or your website name changes in height as well. Now you can see I've done one name. So now what I'm going to do is copy and paste that. So on the panel over in the right hand side, once I've finished moving it around, I'll click on away from the text, reselect it, press Ctrl C for copy and Ctrl V for paste. That's on Windows. I'm not a Mac user, sorry for the guys that are out there. And then I drag and copy the second watermark so it's in line with the first one. With this, you want to try and keep an even space between the two names and then guesstimate the space between the two edges. There's probably a better way to do it, but this is just the way I do it. Once I've done the two and I know they're right, I'll click away from it again. I'll then select both of the text boxes in the bottom right hand side of the screen, copy and paste it. That automatically puts them in the middle. I then keep them to selected, right click, use the transform button, and then drag it up to the top. It's quite good because doing it that way, you know it's going to be the same top and bottom. Now, one issue with this, you can see where the sun is, the white writing is going to be quite faded. So with that, I need to change it to black. So I basically click on one of the images on the right hand side, and then right click on the screen, and then do the free transformation again, and then go onto the text, click on the actual text, select all, and then change the colour to black. And that will just stand out really well against the sunlight. That's purely the only reason I do it. The first two are done because they're both white. I'll copy and paste those again. They go in the middle, and then I'll change those so they basically fade more. It's usually around about 20% I think I get away with the most. So you'll see I can only do one at a time. Right click the text once I get there. So at the moment I'm just going to move it slightly down because it's a bit too much in your face. And again, this is purely just so people get it in the back of their heads that that's my website to visit in case they don't scroll up and down. Select one of the names, right click, and then click on blending options. Then under opacity, select about 20 to 30%. And then repeat that for the second one. And it just gives it a nice ghost image, so you're not drawing too much attention away from the image, but you've still got your little watermark on there. Just make sure it's the same percentage, otherwise it might look a bit odd. And then you can see that's the watermark stage done. So now what we need to do is flatten the image again. Again, if you right click on the text boxes, it doesn't come up with the option flatten image. Again, I don't know if this is just my version of it or whatever is happening. But if you click on the image, it gives you the option to flatten the image. Do that, and you will see now all the watermarks and everything are all in one file. From here, you click on 3D at the top of your screen, and then you click on that option, the panoramic option, and then new panoramic layer, if I can spit the words out, so the middle option. This will then convert this image into a 3D image. So you can see here, so panoramic, sorry, not 3D. And you can scroll around like you could on the previous program. However, this time you have got full quality. So scroll down, check out your watermark, make sure you're happy with it, which I'm quite happy with that. It looks quite neat and tidy, and it's not oversized. And the top, because you stretch the sky up, you get sort of this little pointed top effect, which I don't mind. I think it's quite nice to have that as a centre point and then your watermark following it around. So here you can see again the high street, you can see First Light Photographic, you can see the new cinema, and it's just a good overview of Daventry Town. There's been quite a lot of feedback with this. Now to export this as a panoramic that you can use, click on 3D, the panoramic option again, and export panoramic. Then click save to your computer. On this example, I'm going to put it back on my desktop again. And all I'll do is re-click that just to get the same name, get rid of JPEG, and then just call it exported. WM for watermarked. Then save. Once this is saved, what I tend to do is minimize Photoshop and go back to the desktop and then open the image just to check it for any faults that I might have missed whilst I was processing in Photoshop, and make sure nothing's happened whilst it's being exported. Zoom in, make sure you're happy with your watermarks, which I'm more than happy with that. And then it's a case of loading it to social media. So this is my Facebook account, like my Facebook drone account. You can see I'd already uploaded one previously. So with this, the text is already in there. Daventry Town Centre panoramic created for the how-to tutorial, which is this. And then I'll just add in a bit of text in there just to say video coming soon, just so it makes people aware. And then I will post it. To post this, you have to upload the image as you would normally upload it. So click on the upload photos or video. Select your panoramic that you want to upload, which is the one with the full sky and not the missing sky with no watermarks. In this example anyway. Double click it or click it and then select open. Once you've done this stage, it does take a while before it lets you post it. Now if the image is over, I think it's 10,000 by 10,000, it kicks up an error. So you have to go in and manually adjust the size of your picture on Photoshop, which I'll do another video about another time. Now this can take a couple of minutes to upload because it's quite a bit of data that it's trying to pull in to Facebook in this instance to create that panoramic view. That could just be to do with my internet speeds in all honesty. Once it's ready, the little post icon will turn blue. All you have to do is click on that, and then once again the magic happens and it will post your panoramic image onto Facebook. So you just see this is coming at posting. If I just scroll down a little bit, you will see there it is. There's the image. So that image there, as you can see, moving up and down the screen, it moves slightly, and then you can click on it, spin it around, have a good nosy, and you can still see my watermarks and everything on there. The good thing about this as well, which I only found out the other day that it works, if you edit your profile picture at the top, your main banner picture, and you choose the same image as what you just uploaded, the same process will happen. It will start uploading. It might take a little while, up to a minute or two, and then it will load, and then you've got a panoramic picture on the top of your screen as well. Sometimes it can be a bit glitchy. It can just stay as a static image, but most of the time, especially if it's not a page created for a business or a product or whatever, but it's just your personal Facebook, it does tend to work quite well. Once it's finished loading, you can drag and drop it where you want it. Now you can't drag around the whole panoramic at this stage. For some reason it just don't let you. So click Save Changes, and if I scroll up and down, you'll see it's not working as a panoramic on there, so you have to physically click it. So whether people use that, I've put it on mine. I think I'll be changing it soon back to a normal aerial image. But as you can see, the quality for the little Mini 2 is fantastic. Like I say, I've got the Air 2S as well. Unless you're really digging deep for the detailing, you can't really tell the difference on images. Not for the stuff for social media, because it gets downgraded anyway. But obviously video is where you benefit a lot from that, from the 1-inch sensor. That's the image that a lot of people commented on, wanting a tutorial of how I managed to do the effects I've got. And there's just a few estate agent shots that I've done, services I provide. And this here is my parents' caravan based down in Devon Cliffs, Sandy Bay. Fantastic location, brilliant place to go. And I've done exactly the same process with a DJI Ronin RS2 gimbal and my Canon EOS R. The only difference is the part that I've done on the sky is what I've done on the carpet here. You can see that little point again, purely because the gimbal can't face all the way down. If you are looking for a nice holiday to go to, visit heartleisure.info, check out the prices and availability. It's a fantastic place to go for a holiday. And that's it from me. Thank you very much for listening. Let me know if you've got any questions or comments below on the comments section, and I'll be happy to answer them.